this road.
A man is driving through the darkness when his wife suddenly screams, "Don't stop the car." But it's already too late. They've entered a road that shouldn't exist. There are no houses, no other cars, no way out. Then they see something terrifying ahead, a vehicle that looks exactly like theirs. The same car, the same road. And when they get closer, they realize the impossible. Someone inside that car looks exactly like them. They desperately turn around, hoping to escape. But every road leads back to the same place. Because they're not lost. They're trapped inside a time loop, and every attempt to escape brings them closer to death. And what they discover next will make them question whether they're actually trying to escape the road or running from something they did in the past. The strange shortcut as Reed drives through the forest. The couple nearly gets into a serious accident. The incident leaves them confused about which direction they were traveling. Their phones aren't helping either. There is no reliable signal, and their navigation becomes useless. Eventually, they stop at a remote gas station. There, they encounter an unsettling old woman. Instead of simply giving them directions, she seems almost amused by their situation. She points them toward a shortcut. Reed decides to trust her, and that decision changes everything. They turn onto a narrow road surrounded by dense forest. At first, nothing seems unusual, but then the journey begins taking far longer than it should. They keep driving and driving, yet somehow the road seems to stretch endlessly ahead of them. Then they begin noticing something even stranger. The same locations appear again. The same road, the same trees, the same strange landmarks. They aren't getting anywhere. They're trapped. The film deliberately turns the road itself into the monster. Instead of simply looping back to the exact starting point, the road seems to distort time, with moving forward and backward, taking them into different points of the timeline, and that's when their nightmare truly begins. Something is watching them. The road was already trapping Reed and Olivia, but then they realize something is watching them. Their memories start changing. Time jumps without warning, and a mysterious hitchhiker appears, who seems anything but human. Soon, they discover they aren't the only people trapped on this road. There are other versions of them, living through the same nightmare. Then a terrifying killer begins appearing in the forest, always one step closer. But the biggest mystery is this: why does the killer seem to know them? The road starts revealing their secrets as Reed and Olivia fight to survive. The road begins exposing the darkest problems in their relationship. Olivia is pregnant. They're engaged. But betrayal and trust issues have already driven a wedge between them. Now, the strange road seems to feed on their fear, guilt, and suspicion, turning every argument into something terrifying. Reed demands the truth, while Olivia desperately begs him to trust her, but neither knows what's real anymore. And then they discover the most frightening part yet. Time itself is broken on this road. Forward means the future. Backward means the past. Then Reed and Olivia discover the road's most terrifying rule: direction controls time. Driving forward sends them deeper into the future, while turning back pulls them into the past. Soon, the cars around them begin changing with every turn, proving they aren't traveling through different places, but different eras. Now they face an impossible choice: keep moving toward an unknown future, or turn back toward a dangerous past. Because on this road, going forward could mean death, but going back could mean something even worse. The hitchhiker's terrifying secret. Eventually, the couple encounters the hitchhiker again. But now, his presence becomes much more disturbing. He knows things he shouldn't know. He seems connected to the strange events happening around them, and Reed begins questioning whether this man might actually be connected to their own future. The road has created a situation where past, present, and future appear to exist at the same time. That means someone they meet could potentially be another version of a person they already know. And the question becomes, are they being hunted by a stranger or by someone they haven't become yet? The answer is far more disturbing. Reed's mind begins to break as the nightmare continues. Reed starts losing his grip on reality. His memories become fragmented. He begins seeing things that may not actually be happening. He remembers moments from his childhood, including disturbing memories involving his father and hunting. The movie repeatedly connects Reed's childhood trauma with the violence happening on the road. And slowly, we begin to understand that the road may not simply be an external supernatural phenomenon. It could also be connected to Reed's own psychological state. This becomes especially important when the story starts showing clues that challenge everything we've seen. Because what if the road isn't exactly what we think it is? What if some of the events are happening inside Reed's mind? The truth about Olivia as Reed and Olivia struggle to survive, their relationship finally reaches its breaking point. The secrets between them can no longer remain hidden. Reed discovers the truth about Olivia's past betrayal, and the revelation destroys whatever trust they still had. Now, they aren't simply fighting to escape the road. They're fighting against each other, but the road seems to punish them whenever they try to escape their problems. Every attempt to move forward brings another nightmare. Every attempt to go back reveals another secret. It's almost as if they are being forced to experience the consequences of everything they've done. And then Reed begins to realize something terrifying. Maybe they aren't trying to escape the road. Maybe the road is trying to make them face themselves. The nightmare gets worse. The couple eventually encounters horrific versions of what could happen to them. They witness violence. They encounter strange people trapped in the same nightmare. And they discover evidence suggesting that others have been caught on this road before them. Some may have been trapped for years. Others may have become part of the nightmare itself. The movie intentionally leaves parts of this mythology mysterious, but the repeated imagery suggests that the road operates like a closed cycle. The victims don't simply disappear. Their actions may become part of the events that trap the next victims. That means Reed and Olivia could eventually become the very people or versions of the people they are trying to escape. And that's when the story becomes truly disturbing. Reed wakes up alone eventually. Reed finds himself separated from Olivia. He believes she may be dead. He's exhausted, confused, and completely alone. But then he encounters something impossible. A young girl appears in the woods. She has a distinctive scar on her face. And when she sees Reed, she calls him something that completely destroys his understanding of reality. Dad. Reed is stunned. How could this girl possibly be his daughter? He doesn't understand where she came from. He doesn't know how old she is. And most importantly, he doesn't know whether she belongs to his past, his future, or another version of his life. The girl leads him deeper into the woods. Then she disappears. What really happened? This is where Drive Back becomes intentionally ambiguous. There are several ways to interpret the ending. One interpretation is that the road is genuinely supernatural. Reed and Olivia are trapped inside a time loop where different versions of their lives overlap. The scarred girl could be their daughter from another iteration of the timeline. The people they encounter may be versions of themselves or victims who have been trapped on the road for different lengths of time. But there's another interpretation that may be even darker. The entire road could represent Reed's psychological breakdown. Under this theory, the supernatural journey is a manifestation of his guilt, anger, trauma, and inability to accept what happened to Olivia. Clues throughout the movie, including medication, disturbing drawings, fragmented memories, and Reed's violent childhood experiences, can be interpreted as evidence that much of what we're seeing may be happening inside his mind. And that would completely change the meaning of the story. Because Reed wouldn't actually be trapped on a magical road. He would be trapped inside his own guilt. The final loop, Reed is back on the road alone, exhausted, and trapped in a nightmare that may have no ending. The little girl calling him Dad suggests this has happened before, or that it's about to happen again. Maybe the road is a time loop, or maybe Reed is simply reliving the consequences of his own guilt and betrayal. Because every time he moves forward, the past seems to pull him back. And the final question is terrifying. Is Reed escaping the loop, or unknowingly driving straight back to its beginning?